Hello from Jonathan and from me. Welcome to Friday's Anglia Tonight.
Now first, an investigation's underway this evening after an accident involving a crane at the port of Harwich that claimed the life of one man and has seriously injured another.
It happened just before 8 o'clock this morning on Parkstone Quay. It's thought the crane was on a barge which has been working at the world's largest wind farm being built in the North Sea off the Suffolk coast.
Well, our reporter Rhiannon Mills is at Harwich and joins us now. Rhiannon, so what more do we know at this stage?
Well, Jonathan, you can see the blue crane behind me. It's very close to there that local people have told me tonight where the accident happened. It was at around 10 to 8 this morning that emergency crews were called to Harwich, where they found one man dead and another seriously injured. Now, earlier on this afternoon, one of my colleagues, Laura Burns, went out in a boat and was taken fairly close to where that accident happened. We've been told by Essex police that some heavy metal work appeared to have fallen off the crane. Looking at these pictures, I believe that you can see very clearly some of those wind turbine blades, and we believe that it was one of those which slipped, crushing both of the men as they were working on a barge which is moored very close to the quayside as they were working on those wind turbines. Now, the two men are actually part of a subcontractors group who are working for the Greater Gabbard offshore wind farm project. This is going to be the largest wind farm project in the world. It's going to include 140 turbines, due to be completed by 2012, and around 18 miles off the coast of Harwich here. Now, back here tonight, police and health and safety executive have told me that they are carrying out investigations to try and work out exactly what caused this accident. We still know very few details about the men that were involved. Obviously, one of them was fatally injured. The other was actually taken to Addenbrooke's Hospital in Cambridge, flown there this morning, where he was treated for serious injuries, but we are being told that he is stable this evening. Obviously, police are also trying to contact his relatives at the moment, but more than anything, they are trying to work out how this accident happened as they were working there earlier on this morning.
OK, Rhiannon, thank you for that. Next, the former director of nursing at the centre of the cover-up claims at Milton Keynes Hospital has been speaking publicly today.
Maggie Southcott-Want is taking the hospital to an employment tribunal for unfair dismissal. She claims NHS bosses covered up a string of incidents and mistakes. The hospital vehemently denies the allegations. Emma Baker has this report.
This is the woman behind a string of serious allegations against Milton Keynes Hospital. Maggie Southcott-Want was once the director of nursing there. Now, in evidence due to be heard at an employment tribunal later this year, she's claiming the hospital has severely let down its patients.
You don't want to think that anybody that you know or don't know has been treated with disrespect. I began nursing in 1983. You know, dignity, respect is the core of nursing. I feel I've been made a scapegoat, and for some reason they wanted me out of the way.
Ms Southcott-Want was sacked in 2007 for allegedly employing a friend. She's now claiming unfair dismissal. As part of her evidence, the allegations include that a photograph of a dead motorbike accident victim was put on the internet. Bodies were left lying on the floor of the mortuary fridge. There's been a fraud investigation in the pathology department. There was a cover-up of the misdiagnosis of breast cancer patients, and that staff were reported to have had sex in the pharmacy.
Now, the hospital has denied many of your allegations. They say, for example, there was no cover-up of the misdiagnosis of breast cancer patients, and the investigation took place into the alleged fraud at the pathology department and no wrongdoing was found. What would you say to that?
I would say that they're not allegations, they were statements, and certainly the chief executive chaired a number of meetings into the mortuary issues, including bodies on the floor of the mortuary fridges. She was fully aware completely. I don't know what the outcome is of the misdiagnosis of breast or bowel audits that were done, because I was consequently suspended. So I would say that my statement that was forwarded to the court, which the trust saw, is sworn on oath.
The hospital admits bodies were stored on the mortuary fridge floor, but no bodies were treated inappropriately.
It says there is no common theme in any of these allegations, and some are both wrong and distressing to patients and relatives. In every case of an untoward incident involving the hospital, it was properly investigated. There were no cover-ups.
The local MP, Ian Stewart, is now watching the situation closely.
It's a huge organisation, and we've got to be careful in, not condemning the whole outfit because there are specific problems. I got lots of people saying they've had fantastic care at the hospital. So in an organisation this large, you will have management issues and procedural issues from time to time. And my job as an MP is to make sure that if there are problems, these are properly investigated and the problem is sorted out.
This isn't the first time Milton Keynes Hospital has been criticised for its standards of care. While it denies these current claims, the incident will be yet another embarrassing episode in its most recent history. Emma Baker, Anglia News, Milton Keynes.
Relatives of the commuters from the east who were killed in the London bombings have welcomed a decision which could force MI5 to answer key questions.
A decision by the coroner means that the inquest will look at what the security services knew about terrorists before their suicide attacks in the July of 2005. Matthew Hudson has more.
Could the 7/7 bombers have been stopped? That's the question survivors and victims' relatives have been asking for 5 years. Now they may get an answer. At the High Court today, coroner Lady Justice Hallett ruled she would hear evidence of what the security services knew in the time leading up to the 4 attacks. Ojara Iki Agwu, a social worker and mum of 3 from Luton, died in the same explosion. Her sister, Chawa Weki William, is getting on with her life, running the jewellery business her sister encouraged her to start.
It is important for families to, to know that everything that could have been done is done. That way, you know that they did try if they had the information. So it's sort of an information that you need to know.
James Adams, a mortgage advisor and Baptist deacon from Peterborough, died in the tube train blast near Russell Square. After the hearing, his father spoke at a press conference.
There was no way that we wanted the families of the 4 bombers to be present and their legal representatives. So that's excellent news.
The 4 bombers rendezvoused at Luton Station before travelling to London. Relatives want to ask MI5 officials why the ringleader, Mohammed Sadiq Khan, wasn't investigated 17 months before the attacks. He'd been seen meeting known terror suspects, but wasn't placed under surveillance.
The security services had argued that it would be impossible for them to give evidence because it would mean disclosing top-secret intelligence. But Lady Hallett said she wanted the investigation to be as broad as possible, something the victims' families have been pressing for. Matthew Hudson, Anglia News, at the Royal Courts of Justice in London.
The future of the new regional